Settling is not an option for me. Everything I desire is already mine. What if you can have it all? Because every day is for the girls.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of For the Girls. I'm your host, Victoria Alario. And today we're talking about being a girl's girl. Because here's the thing, I am as girl's girl as they come. But I fear that we are beginning to lose the plot. I fear that we have girls girled a little too close to the sun because we keep hearing about the girls. We keep hearing this recurring theme and topic of girls, but I don't think anyone really knows what it means to be a girl's girl anymore, especially not these days, especially not the girls on Love Island, and we need to talk about it. Because the thing about being a girl's girl, and I'm going to say girl's girl a lot in this episode, so if I get a little tongue tied, don't mind me, okay? But the thing about being a girl's girl is that girls hold their girls accountable, okay? Holding your girls accountable and calling them out on their shit does not make you mean. It does not mean that you're not for the girls. It does not mean that you're a hater. It does not mean that you can't be trusted. Everyone thinks like as soon as like a girl holds a girl accountable, it's like, oh, she's a secret hater. She's plotting on my downfall. You know, they're on their stories talking about like these haters. Like, no, we're not all out here living with like, the evil eye on us and like all these, haters around just like plotting, our failure. That's not the reality. And being called out on bullshit, being held accountable, like none of that makes anyone less of a girl's girl, okay? Quite frankly, it means that you're real. It means that you are keeping it real. It means that you're a true friend. That's the entire point about being a girl's girl. Keeping your girls in check, supporting them. And two things can be true at the same time. You can support your girls while also telling them when they're wrong. Okay. Obviously, at the end of the day, there's ways to go about things, right? Like the most important thing is always how you say something or how you do something. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Sometimes it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So it's important to still be kind because there are very unkind ways to go about, holding people accountable. Because, yes, there are secret haters out there. So there are unkind ways to handle these situations, talking shit behind your friends' backs, fighting with them over every little thing, being cold and being distant without communicating why and what's going on, and, expressing yourself, telling your friends half truths instead of the full, whole truth. That's not what we do here. That's not a girl's girl. That's being fake. Okay. I also think that people lose the plot a little bit when it comes to being real versus being fake. I think a lot of people are fake. I'm just going to say it. I think a lot of people are fake. And I think a lot of people cover up, that facade by like labeling themselves as something else. I always say people who call themselves nice, I'm too nice. And for the most part, they're really just being fake. Um, but there's a huge difference because of course doing the unkind thing, talking shit behind someone's back, like that's a completely separate thing. That is not a girl's girl, and that is not what we do here. A true girl's girl can call you out on your shit in a kind way because she has good intention, she has integrity, she has emotional maturity, she has honesty. Sierra on Love Island, to me, is the perfect example of that. She is a definition of a girl's girl. She supported Huda and she gave Huda another chance, but also directly told her to her face that she almost didn't. She's like, I contemplated voting you out because I don't condone your behavior. I love you and I'm your friend. So I did vote in your favor because I wanted to support you, but I really considered voting against you because of the way that you've been acting. However, I would love to support your journey moving forward. I would love to support your growth and, moving past this. I would love for you to have another chance. And also, when Huda was mid crash out, during the height of her screaming at Jeremiah, cursing him out when she had eavesdropped on the guy's conversation and, she was just going off. Sierra checked her then too. And she was like, stop, keep it classy, don't act like that. Like, she watched her friend act a fool. She watched her friend start to embarrass herself. And instead of like fighting with her, being nasty to her, she just called her out and said, don't do this, keep it classy. And on the other end, she also was not encouraging this behavior. She wasn't hugging and kissing her and validating that behavior. Like, that is the type of friend that every girl should have in their life, where she's not going to come at you and fight with you, but she's also not going to validate poor behavior either. She has that perfect middle ground of just checking you and being like, girl, pull it together, get it together. That's a true girl's girl. Now, the other girls, they complained about Huda and how she acted, but they didn't actually address her about it. At least from what we see as the viewers, they didn't actually address her. I do believe that once Sierra like started to speak up, I find her to be kind of like a leader, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean that in an ace, the menace being a leader. I mean, like, Sierra has like a positive leadership quality, and I feel like she kind of pioneered the girls feeling a little bit more able to open up. Like, I know that Hannah said something to her at one point, and I think Amaya said something to her at one point. Like, it wasn't really nice what you did, but like, that was even further along. I'm talking like earlier, where the girls were complaining about, Huda and her situation. Um, but they were not saying it and addressing her. They weren't saying it to her face. They weren't addressing her. This goes back, like I just mentioned before, about being too nice, being fake. You girls know that concept I always talk about, being nice versus being kind. I just spoke about this a few episodes back in relation to The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, where I debriefed that show. I talked about that show while digging deeper into the concept of being nice versus being kind. So I'm not going to, get all into that right now. You could go back. That episode is from June 2nd, 2025. And the title is Be Kind, Not Nice, Debriefing the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And why I'm bringing that up is just because it kind of relates to this as well. And it's just like, Sierra is the definition of being kind. Others may be too focused on being nice, so they don't actually like approach, the situation head on, face to face. They just would rather talk about it, separately. Um, and then here's on the opposite end, on a complete, we have two ends of the spectrum. How Sierra is, and the example that she shares as a girl's girl, and then Huda on the other end, who preaches up and down about being a girl's girl while simultaneously treating the girls like shit. Her version of being a girl's girl, and I think a lot of girls' version is, on that same page. I think a lot of girls think that what a girl's girl is to just like follow the girls, follow the herd, don't step out of line. You're either with us or you're against us. I mean, Huda was shitting on Amaya, who has turned out to be the sweetest girl in the world. She was actually saying, before even getting to know her, I don't like her. She's messy. She was talking shit about Amaya. As soon as she came in to Jeremiah, she was talking shit about her to the other girls, simply because Amaya came in as a bombshell and did what she had to do in the challenge, and she chose to, pick Jeremiah. Obviously, Huda was jealous and insecure, and she lacked the emotional maturity that I believe being a girl's girl requires. And so she went after Amaya for that. And then she repeated the cycle with Iris, because then Iris comes in and Huda's calling her a bitch. And she's calling her name. She's calling her sneaky. She's saying that she moves weird. Again, proved to be such a sweet girl. I could not think of one bad thing to say about Iris either. And even when she didn't have to, Iris voted in favor of Huda after Huda tried to embarrass her in front of everyone. Out loud, in front of all the guys, all the girls, Ariana, the host. Huda, out of jealousy and emotional immaturity, was saying, Jeremiah is not attracted to Iris. He told me he's not into her. He doesn't want to sleep with her. He would rather sleep with me. He misses me. He want to work some things with me. Why? Your issues are with Jeremiah, a man, right? Your issues were not with Iris, a girl. So why are we, as a girl's girl, quote unquote, taking it out on said girl and being mean to her in front of everyone and trying to embarrass her in front of everyone? That's not a girl's girl. Quite frankly, it is the opposite. That is a very male centered girl. Like you can tell that Huda's entire thing here is just based on getting attention from and validation from men. Jeremiah being the first victim of that. But, to convince herself and keep all the girls on her side, she's the one shouting from the rooftops, girls, girl this, girls, girl that. She said it to Sierra in the beginning of the show, like, you prove to be part of, the sisterhood. You prove to be a girl's girl. So I'll tell you that I'm a mom. Like, she does this thing where, like, she is really trying to lead, not in a way that Sierra leads, in a completely different way. She's trying to, like, lead this formation of, like, being, this sisterhood, this girl's girl thing. And the craziest thing on that topic of like the things that she says, like saying to Sierra, like, you prove to be, a sister to us, is that after Huda did all that to Iris, pretty much shitting on her in front of everybody, and then Iris being, the girl that she is, the sweet, sweet girl that she is, and voted in favor of Huda, after all that, Huda told her, I love you. I love you. She just talked shit about her for a couple days. She just did that whole performance, in front of her. And then because Iris voted for her, she was super nonchalant, very just like blase blah, casually, at the end of the night, like, thank you so much for having my back in that vote. I love you. We'll talk more tomorrow. I love you. It is so manipulative. But that's how she's reeling the girls in to be a part of this bond. She's like recruiting them in. I mean, it doesn't seem like Iris really like gave into that or fell for it. She seems to have a really good and strong head on her shoulders. Like she gets along with the girls, but we don't really see like much of like a conversation between her and Huda. But to me, it comes across as manipulative because it's her wanting to use this girl's girl thing, this I love you, my sisters, and this and that when it's convenient for her. It didn't matter how she treated Iris when she thought Iris wouldn't be on her side. When she thought she was in competition with Iris for Jeremiah, she could talk shit about her and she could make fun of her or whatever she was doing and say all the things that she was doing. But the second that she sees Iris might be on her side and, voted for her, now it's convenient for her to do this whole, I love you, sisterhood, yada, yada, yada. And so that's what happens, because what happens when these girls practically have girls girl tattooed on their forehead is that they form what they call and consider to be a sisterhood, quote unquote. And the problem is that their version of a sisterhood is along the lines of like, you can never go against the sisterhood. So you need to prove your alliance and your allegiance to the sisterhood. Like I said, that's basically what she said to Sierra when Huda wanted to tell Sierra about like having, a daughter. She's like, you proved to be part of this sisterhood. Like everything is about proving your allegiance to the sisterhood. Therefore, all of the girls blindly follow each other, whether they're right or wrong, because they're in this sisterhood now, and you don't step out of that because that won't be a good look for you. So if Sierra voted against Huda, or if Iris voted against Huda, even when she and they both had every right to, especially Iris because Huda treated her terribly, then they're not a girl's girl. And they move weird and they're sneaky and they're not part of the sisterhood. So what they do with this clique of like, we don't step out of this, the girls are always going to follow the girls are always going to vote for the girls, we have to stick together. What they do with that is that they make it seem as if they have a real true strong bond simply because they're sticking together. But it doesn't translate that way for us viewers watching because we see the full picture beneath the surface and beneath them simply voting for each other. Like there's more to the dynamics and the relationships than just who they vote for in a recoupling and at the end of the night. So we're not seeing this voting situation as like empowering and like the girls are sticking together so they have such a true bond. We're seeing it and we're being confused, like we feel confused because we see everything else happening, we see the full picture, so we see the cracks in this bond, and we see people within this bond actively being unhappy with each other, but not handling their feelings properly. So it's not like this rock solid bond. It's like we see you guys voting for each other at the end of the night, but we also see what just went on all day where no one felt like listening to you anymore. And people were getting away and walking away when you were sitting down because no one wanted to be around you. And even Hannah just did an interview. Hannah got voted off, and even she just did an interview where she was talking about how no one in the house wanted to listen to Huda anymore. Everyone was sick of it. And so Hannah pulled Huda and was like, you could talk to me about it. Like, I'll let you vent to me. That right there, that's a good friend. I mean, that's an exhausted friend because I'm sure that if everyone else was exhausted, she was too, but she was there for her friend no matter what. And so the fact that we see so many people actively unhappy but not handling it properly, but then like also just like sticking to this like formation, that's not what sisters do, real sisters. So this is already a flawed sisterhood because a sister, like a real life sister, is the first person to be honest with you. And that's why this whole girl sisterhood bond worked so well last season in season 6 of Love Island with Leah, Serena, and Janae, because they actually treated each other like sisters do. Everyone knows that your real life blood sister is going to tell you the truth more than anyone in the world. And she's also going to have your back more than anyone in the world. So even though she has your back, she'll simultaneously tell you, you look ugly, you're being annoying, you're being crazy, relax. Like a sister will never, ever, ever be fake to you. And so last season, when Janae, Serena, and Leah had these real, honest, hard conversations with each other, including disagreements, including calling each other out, maybe even arguing with each other. Some people in the comments online were saying they're secretly, they're secret haters. Leah and Serena are teaming up on Janae. It seems like Janae and Leah have beef. Oh, Serena and Janae are always together more and Leah's the one left out. No. That's what real friendship looks like. That's what a sisterhood looks like. Those are friends being honest and real with each other. And look at them to this day. The three of them are best friends and they are practically like sisters. And every time that people, bring that up or brought that up at the time, oh, but they got in this argument, you could tell that they actually hate each other. They would, reply and be like, we're best friends. That's why we argue. I don't secretly hate my best friend. Like we love each other. And that's, why we have those hard conversations. So aside from the small minority of people who don't get it, 99% of us did. And it clearly translated so well to the audience. Obviously, we saw them all go to the finale. And I feel like they all went to the finale more for their friendship than anything else, even for everyone to see the three of them continue their friendship than to see them continue their relationships. Granted, they're all still in their relationships and the friendships, like the casting was just on point, but like it translated so well and they're so successful and they did everything so right because we saw realness. That was it. We saw actual girls speak up to each other because they were not afraid to do so. They didn't have a fear of like, if I say this, then I won't be in the sisterhood anymore. I'm going to look like a mean girl. That's like the big thing now. Everyone's like afraid of looking like the mean girl. Between the three of them, they all kept it real. Like even if that meant being a little mean, because that's what you do when you're being honest. Sometimes the truth hurts. And when it came down to them acting a little crazy, because they all did at some points, each one of them did. Serena acted a little crazy with Cordell. Leah acted a little crazy with a couple different guys. I feel like with like the Rob situation and then the Connor situation. And then Janae, Janae is just such a lover girl. She acted a little delulu sometimes too. And between the three of them, not one of them ever excused each other's bad behavior. They always kept each other in check. They always corrected each other, which is a huge thing that we see this thing online when it comes to women empowerment, that like you cannot, check another woman. You must excuse and justify bad behavior simply because she's a woman. If I'm a girl and you're a girl, I cannot think anything that you do is wrong because you're a woman and I have to support you no matter what. I've posted things myself calling women out before, and not even like personally, just like posting things on my story. Maybe like I've said something in the TikTok. Mostly I feel like on stories where it's like I feel like I'm just talking to my people. It's not like starting an argument with somebody. It's just sharing my opinions on holding, someone accountable. And I've had, a couple of DM. It's always like the very few people who like don't actually know you, because most of the time I feel like my audience like agrees with the things that I post. And I you don't always have to agree with me, but for the most part it's about you knowing who I am and knowing where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? It's not about agreeing, it's just about saying, oh, I get her perspective and I respect the perspective. But I've posted things sharing my honest opinion, and I've gotten DMs being like, this isn't very girl of you. I'm so disappointed to see you say this. Like, you're supposed to be a girl's girl. Like, this is not empowering. And I'm like, hold on, girl. You got it all confused. You got it all twisted. My entire life is devoted to supporting women and uplifting women. And guess what? Unfortunately, part of that comes with holding women accountable for their wrongdoings. I personally would never justify or excuse bad behavior from anyone at all, and especially not a woman just because she's a woman, simply because she's a woman. That is not enough of a reason for your excuses. I mean, for your bad behavior to be excused and justified. I also know I'm never going to pretend that we're all going to like each other. I'm never going to just like every single woman simply because she's a woman. Again, like, we all have to accept that not everyone is for us, and that's okay. Someone can simply not be for you. It doesn't mean that you are the biggest hater. It doesn't make you an anti girls girl. Quite frankly, all it means is that you aren't forcing yourself to like someone that you don't get along with or that just isn't your type of person. You're allowed to have differences with people and say, you know what, we're just two different types of people. We don't really like get each other. We don't really see eye to eye. Like, I don't really like the things that she does. She doesn't really care for things I do. Like, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Guess what? There is nothing empowering about being fake. There is nothing empowering about being fake. So that's why everyone loved Janae, Serena, and Leah, because they kept it real. And sometimes, yeah, that meant disagreeing and arguing, but at the end of the day, like, they were never fake to each other. And this season, it's just simply not working because we are not seeing that genuine connection between the girls, rather a forced connection that seems to be built out of fear of no one wanting to be seen as a mean girl or a hater, fear of America's perception. It seems like they're talking a lot this season about what America thinks. They keep saying, oh, well, America saw this or America voted this way. And like, one, they have no idea what we see or know because they don't have their phones. But two, um, why are you so hyper fixated and hyper focused on what America thinks? Why are you like over analyzing what your perception might be to other people? Like, just focus on the present. Just be in your couple. Just be with your friends. Just be, you know? We even saw that all the way back in the beginning of the season. It might have been Was it when Sierra came? Yeah, it might have been like the third episode, honestly, when Sierra came as a bombshell. Yeah, I think. Oh, was it? Yeah, Sierra and Charlie, I think. Yeah, I feel like it might have been like literally episode three. Sierra and Charlie came in, and when the boys like stood up because they liked Sierra, and Huda was like making her commentary and saying the things that she was saying, and Olandria didn't like what she was saying, so she kind of snapped at her a little bit. She wasn't like out of line, but she was just like, "Girl, stop! Like, stop! You're doing too much. Don't keep making all these comments about the men. Like, we're good, you know." And then when after that, Huda was crying because she was embarrassed that she got, like snapped at. And when Olandria found out that Huda was crying over that, she freaked out. And she just kept saying, "Oh my God, no, I'm not a mean girl. Now I'm going to look like a mean girl. I don't want everyone to think I'm a mean girl." Like, she just kept saying this whole, like, I don't want anyone to think I'm a mean girl. That's not how I meant it. And granted, like, I do believe that that's not how she meant it. I don't think that she meant to, like, scold Huda. I just think that, she wanted Huda to, like, chill out. But obviously, there was already this undertone of no one wanting to get the mean girl edit. So she, like, went crazy for a second. She, like, nipped that in the bud real quick. She's like, "I am not going to let somebody call me mean. I don't want anyone crying over me." Like, you could just tell that there was already this, like, perception of, like, no one wanting to have that sort of edit. And this is not only a thing in Love Island, this is a thing in life. And we have to drop this fear. We have to drop the fear of everyone else's perception of us. We have to stop thinking that we need to live life like a game of follow the leader. We are not meant to live our lives following anyone other than our own gut and our own intuition. That's the only thing that we should be listening to. You are allowed to make your own choices. You are allowed to stand up for what you believe in. You are allowed to speak up for what you think is right or wrong. You are allowed to check your friends and hold them accountable. And most importantly, all of that is possible only ever when you are secure and confident in yourself. Because when you have that security within yourself and that confidence within yourself, you are able to say what you mean what you say, and stand 10 toes down on your beliefs. And you're able to say, if that makes me the bad guy in your eyes, then so be it. So be it. I will be the bad guy because I am standing 10 toes down behind my beliefs. Truly, all that matters at the end of the day, if you really want to be a true girl's girl, you could do all of that. You could stand up for yourself, but what matters the most is leading with respect and kindness. That's it. Because your goal is not to dim someone else's light when you stand up for yourself, when you share, your feelings, when you may have to criticize something, you may have to speak up to something and, talk about what you feel like is wrong. Your goal is never to take that information and to dim someone's light with it. It is the goal at the end of the day is to make everyone better. It's to make their light brighter. It's to make them shine brighter. So it's not to judge, it's to give constructive criticism to make that person better and hold them to their best selves that is possible, like Sierra was doing with Huda. So you want their light to shine. You want to lift them up. A girl's girl isn't just lifting you up to your face and publicly, but also privately behind your back. And a girl's girl is not a pushover, and she is not performative, and she is not doing it only when it's beneficial or convenient for her. She's not in silent competition with other girls. Quite frankly, she doesn't believe in competition at all. Rather, she believes in collaboration and lifting each other up together and working together. So, no, she's not jealous. No, she's not insecure just because she sees another girl doing great things or she sees another girl getting what she wants. A girl's girl is able to be happy for another girl and cheer her on and let it be someone else's turn before it's her own turn. Okay? The moral of the story is this: a true girl's girl will share your name in a room full of opportunities, and she will root for you when you're not even there, even when you're not in the room. And at the same time, she'll keep the hard conversations and the harsh truths and the toughest critiques to your personal conversations face to face. So please do not fall for this performative girl nonsense that is born out of fear rather than genuine connection and respect for other women. If anyone, because we see this on social media so much, anytime anyone has so much as a little opinion, if anyone tells you that you are not a girl's girl for keeping it real, that tells you pretty much everything that you need to know about them. And that is all that we have for today. Thank you, girls, so much for listening. Please share this with your girls to make sure that we are all on the same page. And do me a little favor, give me a little like, comment, rating, review on your way out. And yeah, thank you, girls, so much for being here. Until next time, girls.